Welcome to the When I Grow Up podcast, where we talk about what people wanted to do when they grew up, what they do now, and how they got there. And today's guest is an old friend of mine from summer camp, Brian, who owns the largest balloon creation company in the state of Indiana. When he was little, he wanted to be an astronaut, but things changed. And as he stepped from world to world to world of exploration, he eventually just leaned into the parts of work that he was enjoying. I can't wait to share Brian's story with you. And a quick note, I definitely forgot to hit recording until after I had greeted him. So there's a very abrupt beginning to this intro, but let's dive in. So the first thing that I ask every person is, what did you want to do when you grew up?
Yeah, well, every four-year-old wants to be a paleontologist, and most four-year-olds know how to say paleontologist.
Yeah, yeah.
But by the time I was the ripe old age of 5, I had changed my plans, and I wanted to be an astronaut. Uh,
Ah,
and uh, and like, if you remember when we were friends in high school, like that was like every kid wants to be an
yeah.
astronaut, but like I was very serious about it, and if it weren't for having just absolutely atrocious vision, like I really could have and would have pursued that. Like I was really interested in astronomy and space science and all of that sort of thing. And
Mhm.
I look back sometimes and I go, gosh, if only I had fallen in love with space science and rockets instead of just the idea of becoming the person that goes into space. I may have ended up in
Mm.
aerospace engineering. I might have been working for a rocket company doing really cool stuff, but I did not end up taking that route. So,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, yeah, like you said, it's sometimes we talk about the childhood dreams and they feel childlike. But then when we carry them through into middle school, high school, whatever, then we start to wonder, oh, is that actually a childhood dream, or is that more within me of what I'm really interested in? I always tell people I wanted to be a zookeeper till I learned that they worked on Christmas. So for me, it's kind of that, you know, I'm so curious for you what it was about an astronaut. Was it space that you were interested in? Was it the
I'm
spaceships? Like, what did you like about it as a kid?
as a kid, it was being weightless, floating around. As a kid, that was the cool thing. As a teenager, it became the ability to do science and get to launch on a rocket and have everybody go, "Wow, you're an astronaut!" and to get to learn new things and see new places. And even now, as an adult, as I wish I could still, make the cut at 41 with terrible vision and no advanced degree. Now I think, man, the ability to perform at your peak and to be the pinnacle of an organization of a bunch of people all pushing so that a few people on the International Space Station can do the absolute best work, the most science that they possibly can, and to be that representative doing the very best work and being at the pinnacle of achievement, that's something you just don't see in a lot of fields. You have great professors that make great discoveries and then go home to the kids or goof off a bit here and there. Astronauts have to be on 100%, and there's so many people all pushing toward that one person. In this case, it's a whole ton of people all pushing to make a few people do their absolute best work and be at that pinnacle of achievement, and those people are government employees making, $100,000 a year, not a gazillion dollars. That they're all doing it for the sake of science. So I've grown in my appreciation of space since I gave up my plans of becoming an astronaut.
It seems like so much of it is that, like, team, like, you are on a team working towards a greater goal. Um, like, because when you were talking, I was thinking, well, you have people at their peak where it's all they do, and while we're recording this, the Olympics are kind of wrapping up. The first set of Olympics are wrapping up, and so to me, I think of, well, Olympians are technically in that space too, but it's not the same. In this, it's working towards something bigger and greater that gives back to the world in a way. Um,
Absolutely.
Oh,
None
yeah,
of
that's
that
what
would
it
have gone
was.
through my head as a kid, and none of that honestly
Right.
went through my head at all as a teenager. That's just what I come to appreciate as a middle-aged man. So
Yeah, I get that. So tell us, what is it that you do now?
yeah, I ended up not becoming an astronaut. I ended up went to college with you. I
Yeah.
went to the same college, and I ended up deciding to go into ministry, going and getting most of a master's degree in philanthropy. And then the whole time through college, I had started twisting balloons at the local ice cream shop
Mhm,
and
mhm,
doing birthday parties and things like that, and entertaining people. And that was growing and growing. And I realized, you know what? I kind of want to do this. This would be a fun job. I can help people and do this. I can volunteer in a nonprofit and entertain people with balloons. And then I had one experience at a nonprofit that just all went south. And I said, you know what? Maybe I could just do this balloon thing as a career, be my own boss, not have to answer to folks. So that was, oh man, that was 15, 16 years ago. I've been doing balloons for 22 years. And now
yeah,
my wife and I own the largest balloon company in Indiana. So yeah, we do balloon
mhm,
entertainment and balloon. Our main thing is actually the balloon decorations, arches and columns and helium balloons and deliveries and gifts, and also large giant sculptures. So we do all of that day to day. And we have a crew of 6 people, a 6,000 square foot studio, the whole shebang.
mhm, mhm. Well, and I still remember when we were in college and Ivanhoe's, the ice cream place, we'd go to Ivanhoe's and you'd be there making balloons, and I it was so fascinating for me to watch because I think so much of what and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but so much of what you seem to enjoy about it was being able to, like, talk with people and engage with people as you were making these creations. It wasn't just simply, "Oh, I just like making balloons." It was the engagement with people and having that back and forth. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You enjoyed the personal interactions, and I tell folks, for the listeners' benefit, we met in high school at camp, and then we happened to go to the same college. And
Mm,
so you remember me as a high schooler. I didn't have friends. I didn't have a group of friends. I didn't have outside of the people that I saw once or twice a year at camp. You guys were
mhm,
my only friend group. Back at school, I didn't have friends. I didn't develop those skills that a lot of people pick up as a high schooler, just learning how to hang out with people, learning how to listen to people, learning how to talk about their interests, not just your own. And so I didn't have all of those people skills. And then I went to college and everyone was a lot friendlier and you're stuck in dorm rooms with everybody, but I still didn't pick up a lot of those skills. And so when I actually went out to Ivanhoe's, the restaurant, and made balloons for people, I realized that if I wore a company shirt instead of, I got 5 of them made in college,
mhm,
instead of wearing some random t-shirt and sandals, people took me more seriously. If I made this joke, I got this big of a tip. And if I made that joke, people shut down. And so suddenly, in addition to actually making balloons and entertaining people and enjoying that, I was learning people skills in a way that my science minded, quantifiable research mind could handle. And so I was able to quantify based on how much tips I got what things
mhm.
worked. And once I got the balloons out, people wanted to interact with me. They wanted to laugh at the jokes. They wanted to get a balloon. And that was something that I honestly didn't have a lot of people that wanted to hang out with me. I still don't know how to interact at parties. And so having that opportunity to interact with people, and it taught me a lot of cool lessons.
Yeah. One thing you mentioned earlier that I want to go back to, because you said that the you had the not so great experience with the nonprofit, and and in many ways it put you on the trajectory of what you do now. Do you mind sharing what that experience was like? You don't have to give details if you don't
I
want
have
to, but, like, what was the experience like for you to step into something you thought you were supposed to do, but then it was not a fit?
Yeah, and well, decided because of my great experiences at camp, I decided I wanted to go into camp ministry. This was great
Mhm.
for me. of course I should do it for other people. And so I went into
Mhm.
ministry, and halfway through, I was doing a practicum, and one of my professors says, "Well, why you?" I'm like, "Because other people did that for me, and I wanted to give back." He's like, "Yeah, but why do you need to be the one to do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And I was crying, and it was a rough day.
Mm.
I'm like, "I don't know." And so I ended up transitioning to trying to learn the resource side of, well, again, the more
Sure.
quantifiable side, the volunteer coordination, fundraising, things like that, and how that can help nonprofits. And I hitched my wagon to an inner city ministry in a small town in Indiana.
Mhm.
And it was very hard to get anything moving, to get anything done. And when you actually did, there were a lot of forces pulling back and not a lot pushing forward. And so I felt like I was pulling teeth to actually get things done. And at the time, I was supporting myself completely with the balloons. I was donating my time and a lot of my money into making an organization work that really didn't want to do much. But I realized after a while, I'm like, you know what? I can get things done if I want to. If I could really commit to this career with the balloons, then I could do great things. I could not have to worry about getting the things approved by the board and things like that.
Mhm. What was that like for you to choose to step into the I'm gonna step into balloon artistry as a career path? Because I'm imagining that your child self would have had no idea that that could have been a path up for a career, but
Oh
what was
yeah.
it like to make that decision?
I mean, it was as somebody who was not religious anymore, but used to be very religious. It was like, but I studied helping people and I studied fundraising, and now I'm just going out on my own and making money, making people happy, of course. And of course, people were going, "Oh, well, that's great that you're entertaining people. You're making them happy. You're bringing joy. That's a good thing too." And I was going, yeah, but there's people that literally have diseases or are starving or need the preached to or and all these things that I'm not going into ministry. I'm going into making balloons because I enjoy it and it makes me money. So it was interesting from a psychological standpoint, but I had already been paying for all of my bills for the last few years by doing the balloons. Now I was just freeing myself up to make it a career, to put my money into it, to invest in better materials, to invest in a website, to invest in more work shirts, to invest in things
Mhm.
that would help it grow instead of always going, well, this is my side thing that I do while I wait for the right nonprofit job to show up. So,
I would love for you to talk about what opportunities have shown up because of your work in balloon making balloons and everything, because I know that you've had more than just entertaining people. You've had the opportunity to give back in ways. You've had the opportunity to help people and educate. And so I'd love to hear that part too, so that people don't think that you're just making a bunch of balloon
uh,
creations. Like you've done
and
some
that's
cool
the
things.
Yeah, and of course, there's the professional feathers in our cap, biggest balloon company in Indiana, and broke a world
Yeah.
record, made the biggest balloon sculpture in the world, things like that. So we've got the professional feathers in our cap. But in 2020, I had the opportunity. Well, I'll back up. I'll say I haven't had the same career for 22 years. I've had 4 different careers. I think I was a balloon entertainer at restaurants back when I was in college, and then I started doing more and more birthday parties and church events and company events, as well as making money from the restaurants. And then I started doing the decor, arches and columns and
Mhm.
garlands and things. And so I did that as well as traveled the country and made balloons in now 48 states, 49 states,
Mhm.
49 states,
Ooh,
Hawaii. So 40,
you're
so
so
close.
close to them all. Yeah.
So made balloons in 49 states, but I marketed myself nationally to colleges and universities. So that was a different set of skills I developed making giant sculptures at colleges. And then in 2020, my latest career is that we bought bonsai balloons. So we were pretty funny balloons. My wife is pretty and I'm funny. And so we were pretty funny balloons. And now we're bonsai balloons. We bought our largest competitor. And
Mhm.
overnight, we tripled our size. But as everything came back in 2021, in the spring of 2021, as everybody decided COVID was over, but everybody started ordering again. And
Mhm.
we found ourselves with this much larger company. And so we found ourselves hiring people. My daughter was in the hospital. She had just been born. Has a rare genetic disorder. She's
Mhm.
intellectually disabled and nonverbal and all of that. But as she's in the hospital, people are saying, "Hey, can I get you lasagna? Can I cover food? Do you need anything?" And I'm like, "Please come inflate balloons. Just please, I will pay you a living wage to just
Mhm.
come over and inflate balloons." And so we hired anybody with a pulse. I'm hiring people from my D&D friends, going, "Hey, anybody?" And a couple of them still work for us today. And so I suddenly became a boss, and I'd never
Mhm.
been a boss before. I'd always been an entrepreneur, me and my wife having a company, but I'd never had employees. I'd never had a studio. I'd never had all of payroll and all of those things. And I had to look and go, okay, well, as a person, how do I do this? How do I be a boss now?
Mhm.
Well, I guess what I'll do is I'll do the things that people online say they wish their bosses did, like pay a living wage or not quibble over sick time and require doctor's notes. Maybe I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'll care for the people, and we'll have a trusting environment. So we kind of had the opportunity to build that as quickly as we could, with plenty
Mhm.
of missteps and poor bookkeeping along the way. But we built that. And so now I have 6 employees. We're going to staff up to about 9 for the summer. But we have employees, and we've developed this ability, this trust among us where I go, "Hey, I know you really don't like doing Saturdays, but I'm going to be as accommodating around mental health days and helping you out with
Mhm.
this and that. And then when I need somebody to come in on a Saturday, you'll come in." And so I've never had an attendance policy or anything like that. People take
Mhm.
care of each other. And whenever we make more money, I go, "Yes." My favorite thing in the world is when I go, "Yes, we have more money. I can give everybody a bonus, or I can give some across the board bumps in salary, so or in wages." And so I get to be a great boss. And now that I am secular, now that I'm not religious, it's still my secular ministry to
Yeah.
run a great business. And then the other thing we do is that we have 4 or 5 areas, like people with rare genetic disorders, refugees, homelessness, blindness, and animal welfare for because that's my wife's pet project. We have 4 or 5 areas where if somebody contacts us, we go ahead and say, "Yeah, we're going to do that for free," or the crew will send me a message on Slack and say, "Hey, such and so rare disease is looking for a donation. What do we want to do?" And I'll go, $1,500, no helium, and anything above that, 50% off. And so we got to give out between $10 or $20,000 of free balloons because we have something that has a high markup of the marginal cost of making a couple more columns or making something for a nonprofit is
Mhm.
pretty low. Of course, we've got lots of costs and mortgage and things like that and payroll, but the marginal cost of doing one more to donate isn't that bad. And so we're able to really support nonprofits. And it's a way that I can help people and help take care of my crew, help people. And the secret that I don't tell my clients is I don't care that much about whether their balloons look great at their. I take pride in we take pride in our work, but
Yeah.
I don't care whether their event goes off great or not. Like, at the end of the day, I don't care about one more gala or one fancy birthday party. I care about Jess and Reese and having an
Mhm.
inclusive work environment and paying a living wage and all of that. That's what I care about. And so we get to do that by making really cool balloons for folks. And sometimes we get to be
Mhm.
really artistic and do big stuff as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
kind of my way of living.
Yeah, I so it still to me goes back to maybe high school level astronaut dreams of you still talk about kind of that teamwork, that it's the team that really matters in your mind. And so that's held true even if the paths have changed along the way? I would guess that when you were looking in the ministry space, it had to do with working with people to a bigger outcome again, and even still, like you said, you don't care about the product as much as you care about the people that you are helping, and the people you're helping right now are your team. Is that fair?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not even as much teamwork as it is being good and helping people,
Mhm,
trying to help the crew. We all make a good team. We try and another thing we do is we try and hire folks with that may not fit in a traditional workforce. So I would rather hire somebody with some sort of disability or something than hire the most qualified candidate because we don't need everybody to be a delivery driver and have a license. We don't
mhm,
need everybody to be able-bodied or whatever. We can have imperfect people, fit them all together, and make a good team. One of my production crew, a friend of hers worked for us, and she said, "Hey, I've got this great friend of mine. You should totally hire her. She would be wonderful. She's got the same sense of humor. She's looking for a job. You would love
mhm,
Jasmine." I was, okay, cool. We'll hire her. Oh, by the way, she's legally blind. Is that a problem? I scratched my head and I went, "No, actually, that's not a problem. We can accommodate that. Well, we'll make it work."
mhm,
And so
mhm,
she still works for us. She's great. So and we've gotten to actually do some more stuff in the blindness space and have interns from the School for the Blind and things like that because
mhm,
of that. And she's a great worker. And so
mhm,
yeah, we're it's just being who you are and which for me is somebody who cares about taking care of people, and
mhm,
uh, and then they take care of me. We make good money in our job. I get to spend it on silly things like Lego and Halloween decorations. It's not like I'm running a charity, which was used to be the goal. Truly, we get to make decent money, but we get to care about the people around us, and they
mhm.
care about us back.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's next? What do you have kind of in your vision of the future? What kinda comes next for you?
Yeah, so I was telling you a little bit before the podcast.
Mhm,
So right now we've got this machine that just runs itself. Like everybody knows what they're doing. Uh, there's days when so I delegated, especially because I had to when my daughter was in the hospital and I only had 80 hours a week that I could work. But we've got this ship that kind of runs itself, and so I'm not needed day to day except in the busy season. So,
mhm,
um, like I said, I've got a daughter with the rare genetic disorder, and I'm still super interested in science. So, what I find myself wanting to do more of is become a science communicator in the rare disease space. So, parents of kids with rare genetic disorders, to be able to say, for my own community, KCNQ2 is the name of her disorder, to say, hey, here's what I've learned about this. Let me answer your question on that. Hey, let me make some videos or let me make a post explaining this particular area of it. So to be able to kind of come full circle toward helping people, and to be able to use that science mindedness and help out people is something I've wanted to do, but I'm still figuring out how it works, and I don't have a science formal education, so I'm figuring out where
mhm,
to go with that. So come next fall, I'm going to take
mhm,
an 8 month sabbatical and I'll still do some of the deliveries. I'll still check in. I'll still be on Slack just as much checking on everybody. But if I can work 5 hours a week or just work
mhm.
the weekends, then I'm going to see what I can do in that space. See if I can come up with some way to transition. And then in 8 months, I'll come back for the busy season and work 60, 70 hours a week. And then we'll just kind of see.
Only 60. Wow.
You it That's the life of an entrepreneur. Right now, I don't have to work
I
that
know.
much, but, during that busy season when you've got everything
Mhm,
going out, you have to work hard, and the truth of the matter is, again, I care about the people. I'm not gonna hire somebody so that I can, fire them later. Just hire somebody for the busy season and then let them go. I'm also not gonna during the slower season, I could have 4 people on production. Instead, I keep it at 2 because
Mhm.
if I had 4 people on production, each of them would be getting 5 or 10 hours a week, and you can't
Mhm.
live on 5 or 10 hours a week. So, the only way to care for my crew, and it helps with retention, but the only way that I can care for my crew and help them pay their rent is to keep my staff numbers low
Mhm.
enough, which means that during the busy season, I have to work tons. And during the slow season, I need to make myself scarce because
Mhm.
any hour that I work is an hour they don't work. And that's an hour that doesn't go toward their rent. And so,
Mhm.
so that's just
Right.
part of who we are. And I think that making myself scarce and delegating and seeing if I can transition into something in that rare disease space might be something that could work out. And if it doesn't, then I can always focus a bit more on the balloons the next year.
Yeah, makes sense. I really appreciate you taking time to come on and talk with me and talk with the listeners about what it is that you do and what you have done. Is there a way that people can get in touch with you, follow you, whatever it may be?
Yeah.
Can you share
Yeah,
that little bit?
absolutely. So Banzi Balloons is the name of the company, Banzi. It doesn't mean anything. The previous owner came up with it, whatever. It actually is how you shout hooray in Japanese. So Banzai. But
There you go.
I don't think he even knew that. But Banzai Balloons, Banzi. We've got an Instagram that got hacked. Got to get that
Oh,
up one of these days. We're
mhm.
on Facebook, but just search for Bonsai Balloons, Banzi.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, Hopefully, we'll have our hiring all sorted out for the summer by the time this airs. But if somebody's looking for a job or has somebody in Central Indiana that is looking for a job, we will be hiring a salesperson, a delivery person, and a production person to hopefully take a little bit of the work off of me. So yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, feel free to check us out, and you're welcome also to reach out to us through the website or through the phone number, and I'm pretty easy to find.
Yeah, and I'll include the contacts in the show notes and everything and just so that it's an easy way to access it for people. But I just want to reiterate, I really appreciate you coming on because it's a really cool career path that you ended up on, and I don't think you planned it, but you
Not at
ended up
all.
there nonetheless, and you've had the opportunity to be able to not only I mean, we didn't talk about it. I wish we had more time, but like you got to create like the Mars
Lunar
rover
lander.
or whatnot.
Or we broke a world record. I made an 88-foot dragonfly. So yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
talk about the philosophy and caring for people and all that sort of thing, but day to day, there's a lot worse jobs than inflating balloons, having a crew of people that are fun to get along with, and delivering and making people happy with something really fun. I mean, there's not a lot of better jobs out there, despite the fact that I'm trying to go do something else. There's not a lot are as fun as this.
But it's really natural, and I know we're wrapping this up, and I'm still gonna talk about it, but it's really natural to make shifts and changes in career paths. I tell people that all the time, that there's phases in our life where we reach the end of that particular journey, and we just say, I need to do something else, but how do I apply what I know into the next path?" And so it sounds like that's a big part of what you're doing now, and it makes perfect sense to me. I
We
appreciate you
can
sharing that too.
we can chat again in 3 years, and we
There
can
we
check
go,
in and
yeah.
see, hey, did he successfully transition from a job that makes $100,000 a year to one that doesn't make
Uh-huh.
anything, and are do they still have food? Uh, you can see, or
Season 3 season
yeah,
3
or
will be
did he
where
just
are they now? Yeah.
yeah, or did he give up and say, "Hey, you know what? Balloons are great. Let's just do balloons." I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Well,
But yeah, we'll check in a few years.
so, I guess we're gonna meet back in a few years and see if Brian's goals or career path has changed, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was so fun to create. And if it was helpful for you, please leave a comment or share it with someone who you think it will also help. Also, I'm always curious if there are careers out there that you want to learn about. I'm happy to tap all of my networks to find the fun jobs that are out there. So if there's one you want to learn more about, feel free to leave a comment on that too. But until next time, I hope all of you are able to lean into the career journeys that you are in and find something that you truly love. Take care.